All right, good day, good day. I'm gonna be quick. Um, I have been learning lately about talents and gifts, just natural talents, natural gifts, natural things that we're good at. The Lord has really been challenging me to steward them with a deeper perspective. Because I've always thought my talents were hobbies and things that I like to do. And my job, my work was working at GM, right? But scriptures tell us something totally different. And I am wanting to share that as I am learning and growing in that. And it's really opening my mind up and my expression up to the purpose of my design. So it's a parable in Matthew 25, I think 16, the parable of the three talents, or the parable of the talents. And it's three guys that the king gives different measures of talents to. He gives 5 to one, 2 to another, and then 1 to another. And he gives them talents based on their ability. And so he leaves and tells them, hey, here's these talents, I'll be back. So person with 5 multiplied it. Person with he multiplied and got 5 more. Person with 2, he multiplied and got 2 more. Person with 1 multiplied, he didn't multiply it, he put it in the ground, sorry. And so when he came back, he's like, all right, where's the talents? One told him I buried it. The one talent, I buried it. The other told him the 5 I multiplied, the 2 I multiplied. And so he corrected the one who didn't multiply it, and he blessed the 2 who multiplied it. And something that hit me is right after that parable, he continues into the parable of the wheat and not the wheat, but the goats and the sheep and the goats. And so he says, and the Lord separates all peoples into 2 categories. One category is, sheep, and another category is the goats. So he talks to the sheep and he says, when you did this to the least of these, you did it to me. And what he was saying was, when you clothed me, you took care of me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was in prison, you visited me. And they were like, when did we do that? He's like, when you did it to the least of these. So think about the talents as stewarding these gifts that are within us. But yet, when you do it to the least of these, you do it to me. And another thing was that I had got from that was he says, when I was in prison, you visited me. So he's not just talking about the least of these, like the victims of society. He's also talking about the victimizers, the people that everybody abandons because of their condition, whether they're sick, whether they're hungry, whether they don't have, or whether they're insane in their mind. He looks at them as the least of these. And he says, whatever you do to them, you're doing to me, the king. Because the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. And so what I was getting from that is okay, I'm stewarding talents. I'm releasing, I'm sharing, I'm encouraging people. But I am also to be reaching to a specific person. I'm not just sharing and just doing it just because I want to make it in. Or not just to be a good steward, because that's a part of it. There's a subjective part of it, which is being a good steward. I'm doing my part. But there's also an objective reach, because they said, when were we doing this to you? And he said, when you did this to the least of these. So when we're loving others, when we're considering the least of these. You know, because what we do to the least of these, we're going to do to everybody. You know, what we do to the worst cases, we're going to do to the best cases. You know, so when we're doing this, we're actually doing this to the King. We're actually serving the Creator of life, and we're serving His purposes to bring unity to all things. And so what I see in that is the importance of understanding our talents, understanding what they are, understanding how many talents we have, like really like, I mean, because He gave specific details of, gave 5 talents to this person, 2 talents to this person. So we should be like recognizing, okay, what's my talent? Okay, my talent is speaking, my talent is singing, my talent is creating, my talent is helping the poor. These different things that are in us, you know, whether it's cooking, hospitality, you know, whether it's teaching, whether it's encouragement, all these different things that are in us, we ought not to bury them in the earth. And so when he said, when the one with 1 talent said, I buried it in the earth, to bury in the earth is to bury our talents because we need to please an earthly means of survival, an earthly means of making money and providing for our family. And you know, a lot of times we can overlook the gifts that God has given us, the purpose that God has given us because of obligations. And Jesus talks about that when He says, you know, don't worry about your life. Don't worry about what you have in this world, you know. And then He says, seek first the kingdom of heaven. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things that you seek will be added to you. So the things that the world seeks, which is stature, pleasure, and resources, you know, He's saying when we seek His kingdom, when we're actually doing His business, serving His kingdom, then these things are added. These things will be provided. So He's showing us to not worry about our lives, because when we worry about our lives, we're going to seek to provide for our lives, and we're going to bury our talents. But when we live every day for the kingdom, then we're going to bless others, and those things that we need will be added. I mean, that's a promise. That's not just something to hope. And so I'm saying this to encourage you of the importance of discerning the gifts, the talents that He's given us, of stewarding those to multiply, being a good, faithful steward, but not losing sight of, I mean, because there's a stewardship of it, but there's also a relationship with people. You know, not just being a businessman, but being a friend of sinners, being a friend of broken, you know, and like the worst cases, you know, in the puff daddies of society, you know, in the worst types of people, the most broken types of people, those people that you see on the corner every day you drive past them, you know, like finding ways to see Jesus. I mean, and not just in a mystical way, because they said, when do we do this for you? You know, so they didn't even know that it was Jesus. They didn't know that it was the King of the universe, the creator of the universe that they were serving. But what I'm saying is, when we see a person for who they truly are, when we love a person unconditionally, we are relating to the truth of them. And the truth of them is Christ, you know. That's why He says, when you did it to the least of these, you did it to me, you know. And so I'm encouraging you to do it to the least of these, and steward the gifts and the talents